I look at it as I'm in the people business and golf's my avenue. And what a sweet avenue to like be around people, help people. And granted, I'm helping them hit a little ball a little bit straighter or a little bit further, right? But like along the way, you can teach them so much more.
Episode 90, maybe. Welcome back to the Missoula podcast. Brandon, good to see you, buddy.
You too. We're 10 away from episode 100. I really want to have fun with that episode.
Yeah, for all of our audience out there, it's up to you to make that episode fun. Send us in questions. Send us in some recommendations on guests. Tell us what your favorite episodes were, your least favorite. We'll handle it all. And we're really excited about 100 episodes because it's a huge accomplishment.
Text us, 406-888-MSLA, 406-888-MSLA. Your questions for Steven and I. Episode 100 coming up here in mid-June. We want to make it fun, engaging. We want your questions. We've got answers. We want to hear what you want to hear. Guests for the next year. Guests you want on episode 100. Maybe some behind-the-scenes secrets of who Steven really is off the air. He's nodding his head. No.
I could help
shaking
with that.
his head. No.
Yeah, I could help with that.
You can help with that?
Yeah, let's introduce our guest. Jeff Allen, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show. Well, the sun's coming out, so no better time than to have a golf professional on the show.
Snow is melting fast.
I thought you were going to go somewhere with the sun with being a ginger and how the sun.
Yeah, I get that a lot too.
Yeah, that's where I thought we were starting.
Jeff, let's start at the obvious place. What is your absolute favorite golf course to play all time?
Man, that's a tough question. Been fortunate to play a lot of good ones.
Like Linda Vista or?
Yep. Man, that's a loaded question because there's so many good ones, but I would say currently it would be the Stock Farm just down the road.
Really?
Just down the road.
Out of all the courses?
Yeah.
Stock Farm. Why?
Mostly because it's Montana. It's gorgeous, but it's just a great golf course. Tee to green is like all you want. It tests every part of your game.
I was just going to ask you, would you consider it a difficult course or?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's certainly difficult. And like I said, it demands basically every part of your game.
You know, the course around here, Coeur d'Alene, gets a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've played it.
Played it a lot. Yeah.
That floating green,
Mm-hmm.
do you hit it every time?
I actually did. Yep. So when I played at MSU Billings, we're in the GNAC, Great Northwest Athletic Conference, and that conference tournament every year is at the Coeur d'Alene Resort. Has been since 2008, I think now. So I have played that a lot, and that green actually moves. It's on cables, and it moves based on the water level of the lake. And so some years when the lake was full, they'd push that thing out and we'd be hitting like 4 irons into the wind. And then years where the lake was like really low, they'd have to push it all the way out and we'd have to go to a very far forward tee box and you'd hit like a wedge. But once you get on that green, like you take the little boat out to it, you think to yourself, how can I miss it? Because it's massive. It's just on a huge lake, so it looks tiny from the tee box, but it's huge. So just aim for the middle. You'll hit it every time.
Jeff, take us back to where you grew up and the moment that you knew that golf was going to be a major part of your life.
Born and raised in Dillon, Montana. Started playing golf when I was 7. Stephen and I's grandfather introduced me to the game.
I was just going to say no reaction to Dillon, Montana. Russet. Every time Dylan's mentioned, you like stand up, take your shirt off, swing it over your head, go crazy. He's dropped Dylan and you just sit there silent. Seriously.
Started playing golf when I was 7. And then got real serious about it, in the junior golf days, teenage days, high school days, obviously. But like when I really knew it was going to be part of my life was towards the end of high school and then into the early ages of college, where it was like, okay, I actually want to try to make a career out of this and to stay around the game forever.
What was it about golf that sucked you in, captivated you? I mean, most boys in those junior high teen years, it's football, basketball.
Yeah.
What was it about golf, especially in Dillon, Montana?
Yeah, I played all those sports as well. It's just, I don't know. The golf course was just a place I was always at. It was like cheap babysitting for my parents. My dad's business was kind of on the way to the golf course. So he'd just drop me off in the morning and pick me up in the evening and give me $20 for a few Snickers bars and some Gatorades. And so, but then honestly, it just demands so much of yourself. Like you learn a lot about yourself from playing golf. I don't know if you guys have ever gone to the lows that golf can take you in, but boy, golf will beat you down because it's just such a hard game, such a hard sport. So I think the challenge of it, that it's truly a game you're never going to perfect. That's really what sucked me in. And then the thought that I could help people learn that game, play it better, and that just made it even more worthwhile.
Were your parents supportive of you wanting to pursue golf as a career, or were they like most Dillon, Montana parents, where you go to college, try to become a lawyer or doctor or be better than us or work the ranch? Or
yeah,
tell us a little bit about that.
Very supportive. Neither of them are golfers, so that was actually kind of a blessing. They didn't know anything about it, didn't try to tell me how I should do things or what I should do. So 100% a self-taught golfer. Like, we had club professionals at the Beaverhead golf course, but they weren't given lessons a lot. They were, pouring drinks and just getting people in and out the door as quick as possible. Now, granted, those pros were a huge part of my life, but parents were very supportive, especially when it came to tournaments, taking me to junior events, taking me to state events.
At what point did you realize, all right, I've got something, like I'm winning tournaments, I'm competing, like I'm good at golf? It was more than I'd like to make a career out of this. This is real.
Yeah, I'd probably say like 11, 12 years old.
Really?
Yeah. Just because like I was able to be competitive in like our local state junior qualifiers, and then, not win a lot of the state junior stuff, but at least compete, and qualified for a few of those like junior teams that get to go to Canada and do stuff like that. So, but certainly was never like the Tiger Woods of Montana golf. Like there was certainly a lot of people that were better and are better, but I was just found my little niche to where I was competitive and good for the state and the area that I was in, I guess.
Speaking of Tiger, are you Team Tiger, Team Phil? Where?
Definitely Team Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Grew up in the peak of the Tiger era, and which is now, that Tiger era now is more impressive than it was when it was happening, because his competitive career is, I think, essentially over, but he's still around the game. But man, if you look back on what he did and the stats that are associated with his career, it's crazy.
Phenomenal.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So you go to college to play golf. Where did you go?
That's kind of a unique story. I went to the University of Idaho right out of high school, because they had a professional golf management program as a major. So it's associated with the PGA of America, and you go through the PGA education bookwork while getting a business degree, or, some universities have different degrees. But I also realized while I was at U of I that, yes, this is what I want to do. I do want to be a PGA professional. I just don't want to do it yet. So I still had some opportunities on the table to play college golf, MSU Billings being the most attractive just because it's the only NCAA men's team in Montana. Everything else for men's golf is NAIA Frontier Conference. So I said, yeah, I do want to do the PGA thing, but I'm going to put it on hold for 4 years, and I'm going to go play college golf because I can travel and get that experience and just play a lot of golf.
Why MSU Billings NCAA when the two NCAA schools are NAIA? Is that what you said?
No, I said MSU Billings is the only NCAA men's program. It's Division II because Missoula and Bozeman don't have men's golf.
Wild.
Yep. They only have women's golf.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Really? Oh, well, here we
Yeah,
are.
that's why I'm like, what? Wait.
Yeah. So the Griz and the Cats do not have men's golf. Just,
Why is that?
Just women's golf. Title IX.
Title IX stuff?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. U of M had men's golf. I want to say the final year of it was 84 that the last men's team was at U of M. Could be off a few years, but it's definitely in the 80s.
So what was your experience like in Billings? Did you enjoy it?
I did. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was cool just because, we were MSUB, since they used to be in the Frontier, since they went Division II and changed conferences, they're always kind of been on an island, right? Like whether it's in the RMAC and now it's in the GNAC, they're certainly on an island because it's the Great Northwest and they're in Eastern Montana. So the coolest part was you got on a plane every week and flew somewhere to play golf, whereas in the NAIA, no offense to it, because there's a lot of great golfers and great teams, but like you were going to travel around Montana and play the same courses you played as a kid or in high school or in state AMs and stuff like that. So just the idea to go to Northern California and Washington and Arizona and play all those different places in different climates at different elevations on different grass was just like, it was a cool opportunity. Plus some really good players at the D2 level as well.
For all our golf listeners, what is your preferred golf ball? What is the ball of choice?
My ball of choice is the TaylorMade TP5X, but I am contractually obligated to play that golf ball because I do work for that company. So, but I have played that golf ball since 2012. I've played a TaylorMade golf ball since 2012 because I was on TaylorMade staff when I was a club professional over in Billings.
Tell us about what that's like to be, I guess, contractually obligated. There's a lot of money in golf. Pardon me. And how do you procure sponsorships? How do you go about that process for people that don't know?
So for myself, like for PGA professionals, we're the guys that are at the clubs, we're your head professionals, your assistant professionals, your teaching professionals, and most of every course around has them. Certainly the private clubs have multiple PGA professionals on staff. So how a staff contract works is, the club carries a certain amount of that company's product and you essentially get to support or rep that product for free. You're not paid in cash. They're not giving you a Rory McIlroy TaylorMade deal, but you're getting new clubs every year if you want them, bags, golf balls, gloves, hats, those things that add up, very quickly if you're buying them every day. So that's
you go in any pro shop. I mean, they're like $60 for
a dozen golf balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
That's a nice perk.
Yeah, it's great.
So you haven't bought golf balls in 13 years?
That would be correct. I haven't bought golf balls since, like 2011.
Nice perk. Yeah. Okay. So you get done with your college career at MSUB. Where does your journey go from there?
Yeah. So I graduated from MSUB in 2010. And then I was already working at the club that I ended up staying at for multiple years. But I got into the PGA of America's education system right after college. And you can do it, like I mentioned earlier, through the university program, which I think there's 17 universities now nationwide that carry that. Or you can do it through the green grass operation. So I just started as a assistant professional, said, hey, I want to get in. There's obviously some qualifying tests, both bookwork and playing ability. You have to take a playing ability test. And it's a three level program. It took me 5 years to get through. They give you, I think, 9 years now to get through it. So worked through the PGA of America's education program starting in 2011 and then became a Class A PGA member in 2016. And that's when, once you complete all of the education, pass all your tests, do all the stuff, then you become what's called a Class A PGA professional, which is kind of qualifies you for any job in the industry.
What's something that normal people wouldn't understand about what it means to be a golf pro?
Well, that you're a golf professional, not a professional golfer. I think that's probably the biggest thing. When you tell people I'm a golf professional, it's like, oh, you must play in a lot of tournaments. You ever play with, Scotty Scheffler? It's like, no, hold on. Yeah, that's.
Have you ever played with Scotty Scheffler?
Nope, I have not. Nope.
Have you ever met Scotty Scheffler?
I have not met him, but I've obviously watched him play
That was my
at
next question.
tour
Have you ever
events.
watched
Yeah,
Scotty
I've
Scheffler?
been to tour events and stuff to watch him. But I think the main thing about getting into the golf business is like, you've got to really care. First of all, you really got to love the game, because you spend a ton of time invested in other people's game, right? It's not all about your game. You're listening to Mrs. Smith and Mr. Jones about, how they broke 90 that day, right? Like, or they're trying to break 90, and you're helping them do that, right? So you're teaching, you're running leagues, you're running tournaments, you're doing all that stuff, where it's like, that's certainly not focusing on your game, but you obviously have to keep your game sharp too. So you just really have to love the game.
So as a fan, what is your favorite tournament to watch?
I mean, that's easy. It's the Masters. Yeah. And I've been fortunate enough to attend the Masters. And so
how about Waste Management Open?
Waste Management's fun. Also attend that.
It's probably more fun as a fan than were you there right on 16?
Competition days, it's really hard to get into 16, and I would rather go watch multiple holes instead of sit on one hole all day. Plus it's, as you've probably seen on television, it's a interesting environment, but I do love that tournament, because if you like golf and you're willing to walk a little bit of ways, you can get from me to you guys from those tour guys.
I've heard Waste Management, like if you don't care about 16, it's wide open and you
it's
can
great.
Just walk around and see everything. Up close and
100%.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Who is the golfer that you were the biggest fangirl for when you got close to them? You're like, oh my gosh.
Ernie Els. Yeah. Ernie Els is my favorite all time. And the first time I saw him was in 2009 at what's now the Dell match play. At the time it was the Accenture match play. And he's the Big Easy is his nickname. I did not realize how big of a man he was.
Really?
And I'm a tall guy, but like not a big muscular guy. So seeing him in person.
What is it about Ernie that made him your favorite of all time?
He's just so smooth, right? Like, and I love all tall guys because I try to study their golf swings and figure out, what it is that they do well. But Ernie, if you've never watched Ernie Els hit a golf ball, you should YouTube him, because it's the smoothest thing you've ever seen, and with a lot of power, right? Like, you're like, how does he hit it so far? It doesn't look anything like how Tiger swings it, or Rory, or any of those guys. So
if you could go back in the past and be a fan at any big iconic golf moment,
where would I go?
Where would you go?
Man, that's a tough question, because I am such a fan of the history of the game. I'd probably say 86 Masters, when Jack Nicklaus won at, I believe he was 46 or 48 years old, on the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
Or the 2009 Open, when Tom Watson at 59 lost in a playoff. That would probably be. That would be cool.
There's a few like golf iconic moments I remember. I mean, obviously Tiger, the putt where the ball just sat on the cup, and
the chip, 05 Masters. That's probably, if I were to see one single shot in golf, that would be the shot.
The iconic like Nike ad, Nike logo just sitting there, and then the ball falls in.
Yeah.
How about Bubba Watson in the Masters hitting it out of the trees?
Yeah.
That
very,
playoff.
Very impressive. Yeah. Bubba had some crazy success at Augusta during that time.
Yeah.
Augusta sets up for lefties really well, because they can hit fades instead of.
Have you golfed Augusta?
No. Gosh, no. If there's anyone out there listening that has an in, let me know.
Let's make it happen. We can do it.
But no, I got to walk the grounds of Augusta for 5 straight days. as a PGA member, you get free admission to the Masters. And so in 2016, when I became a PGA member, I went and spent 5 days
awesome.
there, and it was crazy cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's get back to your story in just a second, Jeff, but we got to hit you with the rapid fire.
Oh, geez.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Not prepared, but I'm ready.
First initial memory of Missoula, Montana.
Kind of a spoiled one, I think, probably, because my aunt and uncle on my mom's side have lived here for a long time. My uncle's family had season tickets to Griz football, like first or second row, 50-yard line, right behind the Griz bench. So I went to a game with my Uncle Scott, and that was my first game in Griz, and it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then next time I sat in, section, there's not a bad seat there, but when I sat in section 200, it's like, what the heck is this? I'm not on the field. What's going on here? So I'd say probably that.
What's your favorite coffee shop?
Don't go to many of them, but since my daughters love the smoothies at Loose Caboose, I'm going to go with Loose Caboose because I'll usually snag a coffee when they get the smoothies.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant's going to probably be the Mustard Seed.
What zip code do you live in?
59808.
What's the weirdest thing about Missoula?
I think everybody here says the traffic, right? So, I think as most Montana towns that are growing at the moment, they all have giant obstacles in the form of mountains and rivers that, don't go with the grid that the original traffic was created on. So I'm going to say that for sure, especially the older parts of Missoula.
Jeff, is there a particular book that you've read that's made the greatest impact on your life?
Man, a lot of books.
And then
actually.
we'll get back to the question I skipped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ton of books, actually, but I'll try to narrow it down. A lot of golf books, obviously, that have influenced my way of thinking and coaching golf. They've also influenced the way I, think about life and stuff too. But I think the influence of a book comes at the timing in which you read it in your life. And I think the most influential ones I read when I started coaching golf was Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. Just whereas, golf's a very selfish sport, it's, if you want to be good, you have to put in the time. And at that time, when I started coaching and I had men's and women's teams that were relying on me, I had 20 college kids that were looking at me to point them in the right direction. Like what I want and for myself and my ego, I can't make decisions based on that. It's about putting them in the right positions. And then I would say Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Yeah, big Jocko fan. And that's just, it explains it all in the title, just taking ownership of everything in your life, especially in leadership positions, whether it's coaching, business, whatever it might be, taking ownership of everything that happens. It's a good way to live.
For the question that Brandon's skipped, what do you love most about Missoula?
Oh, man. It's got to be just, how the whole community kind of rallies around Griz athletics. I've been fortunate enough to now be associated with Griz athletics and the fact that you can choose a direction and go catch a fish or go on a hike, so it'd be the outdoor aspect of it, the outdoor culture of it, and all things Griz.
Walk us through that transition to being a coach and your growth or some of the lessons that you learned. You brought up ego is the obstacle. I'm saying that wrong.
Ego is the enemy.
Ego is the enemy.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Tell us about early on what you were like as a coach, and then maybe some of the lessons learned that helped you become a better one.
I think I was pretty fortunate. I never really, especially when I got into the golf business, coaching wasn't on my radar really. But I was fortunate to have a gentleman who's now become a huge mentor of mine asked me to become a coach, asked me to be his assistant at MSU Billings for the golf programs. And that's Kevin Wooden. He's the current women's basketball coach there. And at the time they were going through a coaching transition, and he was just taking over the programs and getting them through that year. And then he said, "Hey, can you help me? I'd love for you to be my assistant. You can keep your full-time job as a club pro and just kind of do this in this fall and spring." And so I had a lot of great lessons from him just because of the way he runs his women's basketball program. He recruited my wife to play golf and basketball. So I had been kind of familiar with him and him as a person and him as a coach and how he kind of did everything. So, and then just building off of the lessons he taught me, and then taking it from there as far as what I felt MSU Billings could become as a Division II program in Montana. It was kind of a sleeping giant, still is, in my opinion, where, it doesn't get the attention that some of the other schools do just because there's no football there and all that stuff or whatever. But I kind of went off topic of your question, but I'd say I based it off of what I experienced as a player when I was there and tried to fill in the gaps that I thought were missing and what could elevate it to become a successful program.
Earlier in the episode, you mentioned that golf can just, I don't remember your exact words, but
It beat you down.
Yeah. Wear you down.
Yeah.
You're hanging your head.
Yeah.
At this stage in life, what are some of the life lessons the game of golf has taught you?
Oh man, there's a ton of them there. First and foremost, you can never give up. You got to just keep moving forward. And it's hard at times because you want to do everything but keep moving forward. But you really just it really teaches you a lot about just yourself and how you can handle adversity and how you're able to focus on what's right in front of you at that moment and not worry about anything that's happened in the last years, days, minutes. You just got to keep moving forward and stay in that moment because the only shot you can hit is the one in front of you.
So where your time at MSUB came to an end,
mm-hmm.
and what was next?
Well, I had met my now wife when I was a senior. She was a sophomore. So I started working right away out of college at Highlands Golf Club, a little private club there, and kind of right in the middle of Billings, and just started teaching and running the operation. I had some great bosses there. Another Dillon guy, Eddie Cavern, was my boss, and huge credit to him for giving me a job, first of all, but just having that Dillon connection that Steven and I have. So,
you small town boys have something special.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the twofold question?
Okay.
What is the best round of golf that you've ever played? And then what is the biggest collapse on a golf course that you've ever had?
Great question. Best round of golf I've ever played. Man. Probably just be, wasn't in an event, wasn't in a tournament. It was just playing with some buddies and some other pros and just, going out, playing free and hitting every shot where you wanted it, making lots of putts, shooting, getting well under
a
par.
Zero pressure day.
Yeah. Fun day. Obviously you're playing for some money or something like that. But yeah, and just getting as far under par as you've ever been and shooting your all-time career low. It's always fun, so. And the biggest collapse, man, it's funny you bring that up because I you learn the most from those moments when it doesn't go your way. And I've certainly have pulled my most educational moments as a player and a coach from those moments. But section championship, Rocky Mountain section championship. Don't remember the year, but had shot a good first round, was in like one of the final 2 groups. And there's like, I think it's top 4, depends on the size of your section. Usually top 4, top 6 go on to the PGA championship, the PGA professional championship, which is then a qualifier for the PGA championship, which is one of the 4 majors that the tour guys play. So that's our one avenue to like living the life of a professional golfer. But yeah, that final round, like I was young, had never been in that situation, totally nervous, playing with guys that, in my mind intimidated me, even though I knew them. And yeah, just had a colossal day, and it was rough, but I learned a lot from it. So like I say, you either win or you learn in golf. You can't really count losses, because the best golfer of all time, Tiger Woods, won less than 23% of his golf tournaments in his career. And he's the greatest that's ever done it. So you can't judge this game on wins. It's more about what you learn.
Jeff, I've become a big fan of the Full Swing documentary.
Yeah.
Have you watched that?
I have. Yeah. Just started season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah.
So you must enjoy it. You're
I do.
3 seasons in.
Yeah.
What do you like about it? About the documentary?
I like, obviously I watch all of the events, most of the events throughout the year. And so it's cool to kind of like, because it comes out a year later.
Right.
And so it's cool to kind of like relive those moments, because when you're watching them, you don't realize that the Netflix crew is following that guy. It's like, oh, wow, he was mic'd up during that meltdown or that win or whatever it was. And so just seeing the inside
the behind the scenes,
the day in and day out, and
events.
what they go through. Right. Like,
was there a golfer on that you're like, well, I really like this guy? Like, kind of wasn't irrelevant to me, but after watching it, you're like, this guy's cool.
Yeah, I think probably everybody's favorite that's coming out of that, and the one who's probably gained the most fame from it, is Joel Damon. He's from Clarkston, Washington, which is just over the hill. His caddy actually was at the University of Idaho when I was there in the PGM program as well. So that's kind of a cool connection. But like, he's a guy that he's very good, obviously. But he's not, world number 1 or top 5 that gets all the attention. And it's cool to just kind of see he's just a normal guy, like lives a normal life and is still really good at the game.
Can we agree that based on that documentary, we don't like Brooks Koepka?
It certainly makes him harder to like. Yeah. I think
phenomenal golfer.
Great golfer.
Gotta give it credit. Yeah. But yeah, that documentary didn't do him any favors.
Season 1 for sure hurt him big time. I think he made a little bit of a comeback in season 2, and I don't even know if he's in season 3 yet. So, but no, he's he's abrasive. That's
Totally random question for you. A lot of celebrities have been in tournaments or charity events, or a day before a big tournament, and they're golfing. Do you have a favorite non-professional golfer, like the Charles Barkley, the Steph Curry, Justin Timberlake, Luke Bryan?
Yeah. I'm going to probably say Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Yeah. He's a good player. And he obviously is going to draw a lot of crowds.
Yeah.
And especially right now, he's kind of, is he coming back? Is he done? He's kind of gone on a different journey in the last few years in his life. I mean, but yeah, I would say probably that, because most of those times when you're watching those celebrities, they're terrible golfers, right? It's like, I didn't come to this tournament to watch this guy hit balls. Like, I could do that
right
anywhere. Like, but Aaron Rodgers is actually a good player. Yeah.
And so athletic that probably with a little bit of coaching and teaching could turn that mess into something great.
But yeah, I would say that, or I did spend 2 years in Kansas City, and Mahomes is a very avid golfer as well. So never got to like be up front with him, but he's certainly part of that community. So
Jeff, when you look over your life, your career, your passion for golf, what is the number one thing that you're most proud of, or the biggest takeaway that you can sum up sort of what this game has meant to you?
Oh man, it was a big time, it was a spiritual thing for me, really. When I was younger, my parents divorced when I was in middle school. And golf was kind of like my best friend, honestly. Like that's kind of back to your earlier question about being at the golf course all day long. It's like, where else was I going to go? Right. And so, but I think the main thing is just in what I'm doing now is just, I look at it as I'm in the people business and golf's my avenue. And what a sweet avenue to like be around people, help people. And granted, I'm helping them hit a little ball a little bit straighter or a little bit further. Right. But like along the way, you can teach them so much more, especially with college kids and my college coaching experience. I'd say that is probably the most fulfilling just because you get a kid in front of you that's probably entering the most important part of their life. And certainly if you're in the recruiting process, you've got their parents in front of you as well. And you've got to gain the trust of that person and those parents. And you can, you just have a great opportunity to be a positive influence. So where golf's taken me is down that road to where it's like, wow, I can actually be an impact in young people's lives. And whether or not they listen or not, like hopefully I was a good person and I was a good role model and I gave them some good advice and was able to help them get better along the way.
So you're now coaching for the Griz.
Yeah, assistant coach for the Griz.
Yeah. Women, they don't have a men's team, Steven.
Yeah, we found that out today.
That's
nice.
Yeah. How'd that come to be? When did you get the call? How long have you been doing that? A lot of questions here.
Yeah.
And why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep showing up day after day?
Yeah. So I had a little 5-year run at MSUB, and then we left Billings, left Montana to follow my wife's job. And that's what led me into my position with TaylorMade was when we left. But as soon as I found out we were coming.
What is that role with TaylorMade?
My title is experiential lead for Montana. So I cover all of Montana. I'm basically your custom club fitter. So I go do account support around the state. If you want to buy new clubs, golf clubs are expensive. You might as well get the right ones for you. So I'm going to go around to most courses in the state, set up my tent, have my launch monitor and all the options. And you show up and I fit you to clubs that are going to help you play better, help you enjoy golf more. But once I found out we were coming back to Missoula, I just sent an email to Chris Nord, who was the coach at the time. He just retired in the fall of 23. He retired after 42 years of coaching at U of M, which is crazy. But yeah, just sent him an email. Basically, just here's my resume. I don't care if you pay me. I don't care if you have a spot. I just would like to help because it was once I got out of coaching after leaving MSUB that I realized how much I loved it and enjoyed it. And we had my final year at MSUB, we had a lot of success. So that also breeded, it helped fuel that fire. But yeah, and then Coach Nord was awesome. He brought me on and this is my second season. Well, this is towards the end of my second season. And once Coach Nord retired, Coach Me took over as head coach and retained me. And we've been, just the two of us have been trudging it forward.
How are we looking for this spring with the team? We're
looking good. We've got a ton of talent. Obviously, they're very, very talented young ladies. Division I golfers are it's cool. It's cool to work with girls that are that good. But yeah, very young also. So a lot of talent. We've had one event so far. And then we're starting a pretty long, consistent tournament stretch here in 2 weeks. And then we go all the way through to the Big Sky Conference tournament.
What does a Division I women's golf team in Montana look like during the months of November through February?
Great question.
When the rest of the country is playing year round?
Yeah, that's a great question. Indoor golf is becoming more and more popular with, in-home simulators and stuff like that. So we have great support from the Missoula golf community, specifically the Ranch Club and Missoula Country Club. But we actually have a building out at the back of the range at the Ranch Club, and in it is 2 TrackMan bays, which TrackMan's the leading launch monitor technology in golf. And yeah, we're in there 5 days a week right now, just waiting for snow to melt. trying to get better. And it's tough because there's not a huge short game factor to it. We're trying to improve that. So if you want to support Griz Women's Golf, we certainly need a new short game setup for our indoor building. But no, it's a great setup out there. They're very supportive. We obviously split time with Ranch Club members, but there's 3 days a week where it's all ours all day. Yeah, we've got them in there 5 days a week right now, working hard, trying to improve the mental game. Obviously, how we're thinking on the golf course, planning for the adversities that we're going to face, because you're going to face them no matter what. But yeah, it is a challenge, especially with some of the teams in the Big Sky. They do get a lot of golf outside, which you just can't. There's no substitute for it. So you got to get rounds in, you got to get reps, and you just got to play a lot of holes. So we try to do the best we can and get to events early and take advantage of our practice round days.
Jeff, final question from me. I could sit here and listen to you talk about golf all day. It's awesome. I just love your passion. Is there a particular quote about the game of golf that's your favorite, or maybe a reoccurring saying that's helped you get through those many, many, many rounds that you've played in your life?
Yeah, there actually is. And I was recently just thinking about it. I can't remember if I reset it to one of our players or not, but Bob Rotella is a famous golf sports psychologist. He's kind of the godfather of golf and of golf sports of psychology. And he has a quote that says, "A life spent chasing dreams is a life well spent." And like, whether your dream is to turn professional and actually chase the tour, or become a club professional like I did, or, be a better dad, or be a better employee, whatever it might be. As long as you have dreams and you're chasing them, then I think you're doing something right.
Jeff, who's winning the 2025 Masters?
2025 Masters, Rory's got to get it. Rory McIlroy's got to win it to complete the career Grand Slam. He's been knocking on the door. He gets the most pressure, and he's so good. Like, he's got to get it one of these years. So
we will see. We're pre-recording, and this episode is dropping Tuesday after the Masters. So
no way.
We will see how it played out.
Man, I'm either gonna sound like a genius, or
so we got to document it first.
Fool.
Here we go. We're gonna see.
Yeah.
But dude, thanks for coming in. It's awesome hearing your story. I'm not a huge golfer. I do putt a few times a year.
Yeah.
And a couple scrambles, but
we didn't even mention that one of my favorite cousins is sitting across the table from me.
I know. He's all shy on this Dylan thing. It's weird.
He's my caddy, but like I said, he told me at a very young age, he's like, "I'm your caddy," which you did caddy in one event for me.
I caddied one club championship at the Beaverhead Golf Course in Dillon.
Yep.
We got second.
Yeah. We had a first day.
I like how you said we got second.
It's a team.
It's a we thing?
100%.
Okay.
Talk about sports psychology. That's all I was doing.
Were you in his head? You were just coaching him?
Read it, roll it, hold it, Jeff.
That's right.
On to the next.
But like I said, I'm not holding up my end of the bargain. He's still waiting for that phone call for me to get into a big event. But maybe I just had back surgery, so when I recover from that, maybe we'll get back on the
if anybody's
saddle.
listening and you haven't into the Masters, we got to get Jeff on the course to play.
I can go
to play
Augusta National
and rest it to carry his bag.
Oof. What a combo that would be.
Let's make it happen. So, dude, thanks so much for coming in. Best of luck this spring.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
What's up, Missoula? This is Nick Balla, producer of the Missoula podcast. We truly appreciate you hanging out with us as we dive into the stories that make our city special. If you could do us a quick favor and follow the show wherever you are listening, whether that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, maybe you're watching on YouTube, so hit that little subscribe button. It really helps us out. Head on over to www.themissoulapodcast.com for more information, and we'll see you next week.